Again, let's just choose switchgrass. Let's go over and let's enter 1 in. If you change your mind, you can go back and enter 0. So here we go. For 1 seed per square foot, you need 13.6 ounces, and it's $27.23. $27.23 for 5 acres of switchgrass if you sow 1 seed per square foot. Okay, so now you know how to enter in. You can also enter in, let's say I don't want 1 seed per square foot, and there's some species, we'll talk about this, that 1 seed per square foot is too much seed of that individual species. So let's enter in, we can enter in a fraction of the seed. Let's enter in a half a seed, so 0.5. Go to the next cell. If we seed a half a seed per square foot of big blue stem, we only need 10.9 ounces, and the cost of that seed now is only half. It's $21.78. And you can enter in 0.1, 0.25, 0.005. You can enter in any fraction that you want. It doesn't have to be 1 seed per square foot. And as a matter of fact, some species, if you entered 1 seed per square foot, it would break the budget. Let's just go to one of the Forbes compass plant, Silphium. Let's see here. Silphium laciniatum, which is compass plant. I just highlighted the column. And here, let me split the screen. Let's split this screen to make it easier to read. Okay. Okay, let's go to Silphium. Okay, there we are. There's Silphium. Okay, I'm going to enter in 1 seed per square foot and see what happens. Uh-oh, I hit the wrong column. See, it's protected, so this won't allow you to enter data in any column but the seeds per square foot and the area. That's it. You'll get that message. Okay, so there's compass plant. Let's enter in 1 seed per square foot. And compass plant, or seeds in the Silphium family in general, are probably the largest seeds that you'll encounter as far as prairie seeds. So you can see there's only 660 seeds per ounce. So it's a very large seed. There you go. You need 330 ounces, and it's going to cost you $3,300 if you were to plant 1 seed per square foot of compass plant. So obviously that logistically is not, there's no seed budget on the face of the planet that can handle that kind of seeding rate. So typically for something like compass plant, I may enter in, 1 seed every 100 feet. And when you think about it, compass plant is a big seed. It germinates readily. I think it has a very high survival rate. And really, 1 compass plant every 100 feet is probably more than what you need in a tall grass prairie planting. It'll readily reseed itself once the plant starts producing seed, and 0.01 seeds per square foot is more than enough for compass plant. And you see, it's a reasonable cost now. It's $33 for 5 acres instead of $3,000. Okay, so let's go back, and I've got a list. And you'll be able to find this list on our website, tallgrassprairiecenter.org. There's a list of criteria that we use that I recommend for considerations for using the seed calculator. And there's also a set of instructions on how to fill out how to use the seed calculator if you forgot during this video, and it's online at our website, and it's how to use a seed mix. It's a file under how to use a seed mix, and then underneath that there's seed calculator considerations. So we recommend in Iowa, if it's a non-erosive planting site, 40 seeds per square foot. Now, if you go out west where it's drier in Nebraska, they will tell you that 40 seeds per square foot is too high a seeding rate. And they may be right, but we have such a high level of weed seeds in our soil, we need to have enough native seed in there to get established quickly to start competing with the non-native plants that are eventually going to come up in our planting. If the site is prone to erosion, we recommend 60 to 80 seeds per square foot. The second thing is that we recommend that you include all phenologies of the plant guilds. In other words, you want to include species that are warm season grasses, species that are cool season grasses, sedges. You want non-legume forbs and legume forbs. So you want to include species from those major plant guilds. And you'll have a long-lived, a very healthy plant community if you do that. We recommend using a diverse mix. And what do I mean by diverse? I would like to see at least 6 grasses, 3 sedges, and 25 forbs, of which 5 being the legumes out of the 25 forbs, as a minimum for any tallgrass prairie reconstruction planting in the state of Iowa. You certainly can use fewer species, but just keep in mind that the fewer species that you include in the mix, the more susceptible the planting will be to weed invasion. And that's the last thing you want with your native planting. You want it to be as healthy and as strong and as competitive so you don't have to deal with those invasive weeds. We also recommend a ratio of 50-50 of grass sedge to forb. In other words, of those 40 seeds, we would like to see 20 seeds of legumes and forbs and 20 seeds of grasses and sedges. So an even mix. So if you plant too many grasses and not enough forbs, you're going to have a grass-dominated plant community. If you plant too many forb seeds and not enough grass seeds, you'll have a nice showy plant community that's rich in forbs, but you won't have the grass component there, and it may create other problems in the planting that you may not want. I have a saying that what you sow is what will grow, and that's exactly what I just explained. If you weight your seed mix to the grasses or you weight it to the forbs, you'll get what you plant. And really, we believe that the healthiest plant community is one that has a nice balance between the grasses, sedges, and forbs. The other criteria is we'd like you to choose species that are native to the region of your planting site, because we developed this seed calculator, and most species are statewide or nearly statewide. It's pretty well easy to do that with this seed calculator. However, if you are doing this from out of state or adjacent states, you'll want to check whether those same species are in your region or not. And the way we define a region is if the species is native to your county or counties that are adjacent to your county. That is what we consider a region. Your county or the counties adjacent to your county. As we've mentioned before, that you want to match the species to the moisture, the soil moisture of your site. So now that we've looked at the soils map and we went out and did a site visit, we know the different moisture regimes out on our planting site, and so we want to match those species with those moistures that they prefer. If you plant a dry species in a moist site or a moist species in a dry site, the seed may germinate, but over time it probably will not persist because it's just not the right fit. As I mentioned before, you want to plant annuals, perennials, and biennials, and we recommend that the seed of annuals and biennials do not exceed 10% of the total seed in your mix. In other words, don't load up your seed mix with black-eyed Susans, which is an annual. The seed is very inexpensive, but you'll swamp out your planting with an annual, and that's not what you want. You want just a fine a fine balance of annuals, perennials, and biennials. This has to do with when you're going to seed, but if you're doing a dormant seeding, in other words, you're seeding after the growing season, after the soils start cooling, right before the snow flies, or even very early in the spring, when soil temperatures are still very cool and there's not any germination going on. That's a dormant seeding. So here in northeast Iowa, I would say from mid-October to early April could be a dormant seeding. Anytime in between there, you need to double the grass and sedge seeding rate if you're going to do a dormant seeding. And that's because, for the most part, grass seed do not overwinter very well. Even the native grass seed do not overwinter very well. And so you need to compensate seed loss by increasing the seeding rate of the grasses and the sedges if you do a dormant seeding. Along those same lines, if you're doing a broadcast, if you're using the broadcast method of seeding, where you're just basically throwing the seed out on the site on top of the surface, you'll want to increase your seeding rate by 30% of all the species. And that's because the seed is susceptible to wind erosion, to water erosion, and to predation from mice and birds and what other wildlife species will eat that seed. And so you need to actually increase your seeding rate by 30%, and that's over all the species that you include in the mix.